which is Python variables. Okay, Python variables. Now, what are variables? As the name suggests, vary, which means vary. The value of this thing variables can vary from one to different. Okay. Now, when you talk about variables, there is also something known as constants. You all can see the screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Great. Okay, you can, if you want, you can mute yourself as well, and whenever you have doubts, you can unmute. Okay, so variables may vary. The value of variables can vary. Constant have basically fixed values. Okay, they have basically fixed values. So, for example, 100. The value of 100 is fixed. It won't change. Value of 1, it is fixed. It won't change. It won't change. Okay, so these are called constants. Okay, this Shubham, if I write a string Shubham, the value of Shubham won't change. It won't become, Modi ji overnight. Okay, it won't change. But if I say apples sorry, number of apples, if I give a variable name number of apples, first day the number of apples is equal to 2. Second day the number of apples becomes 20, which means the value of number of apples is varying. Whenever we want, it can vary. So that's why it is known as variables. So in Python, you can create variables. You can create a new file, call it as variables.py. Okay, call it as variables.py, and you can create variables like number of apples. Let's say 20. Okay, number of apples is equal to 20. Now you can print total apples are, and then colon like this, comma. Here you can put your number of apples. Okay, so what you have done, you've created a variable which has a constant value of 20. You have created a variable of value 20. Now you're printing the total number of apples are, and then whatever value of this number of apples will be, that value will be printed in the terminal. If I run this, total apples are 20. Let's say I want this to be changed to 200. I save it and I run it. Total apples are 200. So which means the value of variable, it is varying. It can be changed. Okay. So these are your variables. You must have seen I have done something that I have not written number of apples. I have not written anything with spaces. I have not done that. I have written underscores whenever I want to write a space. This is known as snake case. Okay, this is known as snake case. As you know, Python, it is a snake. So we use snake case in Python. Okay. Now you can also write number of oranges. Keep it 30. Total apples are number of apples. Okay, print total oranges are number of oranges. Total oranges are number of oranges, and you can also write total fruits. Okay. Okay, this we will do later. But till here, you can try writing a variable, assign it a value, variable, give it a value, again a variable is equal to is the assignment operator, which means anything that is written here on the right side will go to left side variable. Anything written here will go to left side. Okay. So at least try this for now. If you are done with that, then just write done in the chat. You just have to write a variable and print that variable. Okay, so Diganta is done.
Could you share your screen?
Yes, I hope everyone has done. Okay.
Yes.
So variables are basically. Mm-hmm. Yes, Kishan.
Hello. Yes, I am audible, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I understand, sir, whatever you taught, sir, but still not running in the visual code, sir, because I am unable to download, sir.
Okay. So maybe you just follow for some while, and after the session, maybe in 20-30 minutes, we'll sit and we'll work on it.
Oh, okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay, did it in Python interpreter ID, it's fine, not an issue. So variables. Now we created a variable number of apples equal to 20. If you want, you can mute yourself, Kishan.
So there's network problem. I'm trying, but still.
Okay. So you can also create a name variable and give your name as a string, okay, as a double quotes, and you can write Shubham, okay, and then you can print my name is, and then comma, then this variable name, my name is this. Can if you run this, my name is Shubham. If you want, you can change it, my name is testing. If you want, you can change it to my name is testing. Okay, so you can see, okay, you can see that variables can hold different types of data. Okay, when I say data, variables can hold different types of data. It can hold this double quote string data, it can hold this numerical data. Okay, so data is of different types. Okay, so data is of different types. When I say data is of different types. First is numerical data. Okay, numerical data, and second one is categorical data. numerical data and categorical data. So to handle numerical data, Python says I have some data types. Some data types. When I say data types, it means what kind of data are you dealing with? So Python has a data type called int. The full form is integer. Okay, integer. So int holds all the whole numbers like 0, 1, 200, 0, -2, -5, 7,000. So all these integer numerical values, which are whole numbers, can be stored as integers or can be categorized as integer. Okay. And if you want to know the data type, okay, you want to know the data type of a variable, in Python you can directly write print type, and inside this bracket of print type you can pass whatever variable you want. Let's say I want to find out what is the type of number of apples. Okay, I want to find out what is the type of number of apples. Now, according to the definition, what do you think? What is the type of number of apples? Can anyone tell the answer?
Integer.
Correct. So now let Python also tell the answer. So if I write print type of the variable and if I run this, it is saying class int. Okay, it's saying class int. So the data type of a variable is determined by the value of the data. By the value of the data. Okay. So this is numerical data, integer. Now let's say if I have something like 0.5 or 1.25, 3.7, -7.2. If you have something like this, yeah.
Float data,
Yes.
sir. Float.
Yeah.
Float data. Float. It is a float kind.
Correct. It is absolutely correct. It is called as float data. Okay, it is called as float data. Can anyone tell me the logic? How will I print the type of a float data? You can write price of apple 20.50. Okay. So 20.50, which is a float. If you want, you can turn off your mic. You can mute as well. So here you can write print type of price of apple, which means this price of apple is 20.5. Okay. This price of apple is 20. Yes, Satish, you can mute your. Do you want to ask? Okay. So type price of apple. So price of apple is 20.50. I want to know the type of this price. If I run this, it is showing class float. Okay, it is showing class float. Okay, so whenever you have these floating point decimal numbers, then the data type is float, and this all is numerical data. Okay, this all is numerical data only. Now, let's talk about categorical data. So if I ask you, is it raining outside? Is it raining outside?
No, sir.
What will be your answer?
No.
So
In my
your
case, yes.
Yes or no? No.
maybe it is yes, which means it is a category, right? Maybe yes, maybe no. maybe it is raining, maybe it's not raining. So Python says whenever you have yes or no, you can also call it true or false. You can also call it true or false with T capital and F capital. So let's write here. Is raining? Outside my home it is not raining, so false. Okay, it's false. F capital. If I print the type of is raining, so there is something known as Boolean. Okay, Boolean, Boolean. So Boolean says your answer can be either true or can be false. So Python has a Boolean data type which is known as bool. It is known as bool. If your values are either true or false, the data type will come as bool. Okay, data type will come as bool, Boolean. If I do true, it will come as Boolean because it's a true. If I do 2, what will be coming? Can anyone tell the answer?
INT.
Perfect. It will come as INT because this is a number. If I do 2.7, then
Float.
Float.
correct. If I do false,
Boolean.
Boolean.
glad that you are understanding. Good. Now, categorical data can also be labeled. Okay, can also be labeled or can also be called as some information. This information is a group of characters. Let's say you have characters like S, H, U, B, H, A, M. And this is a group of characters enclosed in a double quotes or single quotes or triple quotes. Everything is fine. If you have a group of characters, then this data type is known as str, string data type. Okay. So here we have name is equal to Shubham. So is it enclosed in a double quotes or a single quote?
Double quote.
Yeah, you can, yeah, it's double quote. And if you write print type of name, what you should get here?
String.
Correct. You will str. So these 4 are the primitive data types in Python. When I say primitive means basic data types in Python. Very basic. These are the building blocks. Later on, whenever you will be talking about data analytics, you will be dealing about patient data, house prices. You will only see these things. You will only see these type of things. You will see some decimal numbers. You will see some strings. You will see some categories like yes, no, BMW, Audi, things like that. So that's why it is called primitive data types, the basic building blocks in your data types.
Sir, if I'm not wrong, can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Sir, primitive means something that which is fixed earlier, defined before.
It is also known as primary.
Primary.
Yeah, it is also known as primary.
Okay.
So whatever.
Functional, so you can call it this.
What?
Fundamental.
Yeah, it is also known as fundamental. Anything that is a building block, it is already there, and based on that, you do something. For example, number of apples 200, number of oranges 30, price of apple 20, price of oranges 10. Now, using this information, you can start things like total price is equal to number of oranges into price of oranges plus number of apples into price of apple. Let's say you have 10 oranges for 10 rupees. This will be 100. Let's say you have 2 oranges, 2 rupees. This will be 4. And the addition of this will be 104. So this way, based on building blocks, based on these primitive data types, you can find total price and things like that. Okay. So if I run this and I can write total price is, run this. So total price is 4,415.0. Okay. So you can basically use this star operation to multiply things plus operator to add things. Now you must be thinking about one question. Number of apples, what was the data type?
Int.
Integer.
Number of oranges, what was the data type?
Integer.
Integer.
Same, sir.
Integer.
Price of apples, what was the data type?
Float.
Maybe integer or float.
Price of oranges, again, it was float. When you multiplied these two, and added, you got a total. Now, this total, what was the data type of this total?
Integer.
Float.
Float.
Integer, think.
Float, sir.
String.
So, what Python does is, Python does something known as type casting. Python does, ये ट्रेन में कौन बैठा है? मोकला धनुष?
Sir.
Yes. So typecasting, what is typecasting? It means when you change the data type of a variable to other data type. When you change the data type of variable to other data type. So what was happening here? Number of oranges was integer. Price of oranges was float. Plus number of oranges was integer. Number of apple was integer. Price of apple was float. So when you have an integer and a float operation happening, the resultant would be float only. This is known as implicit type casting. This is known as implicit type casting. Okay, implicit means automatic, internal, automatically typecasted. Float has a higher precedence. When I say precedence, मतलब थोड़ी ज़्यादा उसको भाव मिलता है. So float gets a more bhav than integer. So when integer and float are multiplied, divided, or added, or done anything, the result is float. And the reason why it became float is implicit typecasting. Okay. Now you must be thinking, if I have number of stocks as 2, but I want to make it as, I want to make it as 2.0. I want to make it as 2.0, which means I have to, if I print type of number of stocks, what will be the answer?
Integer.
Correct. If I run this, you'll get is integer. I want this to be run as float. I want is 2.0. So what I can do, I can directly write number of stocks is equal to this number of stocks. I can convert or cast it into float like this, FLOAT, and I can put brackets around it. So which means float is a function which takes in a variable, and whatever variable it is, typecast it does. And this is not implicit. This is not automatic. This is programmatic. That's why it is known as explicit typecasting. So if you have an integer and you have to make it float, you write float, integer number. So your resultant would be float. And this is known as explicit typecasting. Explicit typecasting. So now what will be the type of this number of stock? What will be the output here?
Float.
इतना भरोसा करते हो मेरे पे? But yeah, you are right. The answer would be float, because I've converted or I've typecasted it to float. Okay. So this is the concept of typecasting. Whenever you want to change the data type of a variable to other data type, it is called typecasting. If typecasting is happening automatically, it is known as implicit typecasting. Whenever you are programmatically doing typecasting, it is known as explicit typecasting. Simple. Abhi, I have name is equal to Shubham. Age is equal to 25. Now I want to print, or I want to do some addition. I have to add name and age. Can I do that?
Yes.
No, sir.
Okay, so this is
By
a
converting the integer into string.
correct. So this is a string, this is an integer. If I add this, I run this, you get a type error saying can only concatenate string, not an integer. So string, if you want to add to string means kya? Concatenate. If you want to add to string, you have to convert this integer into a string. Can you tell me how will I typecast this? आपके पास option आपके screen पे.
Will type string bracket age bracket close.
String bracket age bracket close. And if I run this, no error, it got Shubham 25.
We can give space in between if you want.
Yeah. And if I do type of this, what will come?
It should
Integer
come
or
string.
Integer.
Integer?
String.
Nice.
Since we have converted integer
String,
into
sir.
string.
Correct.
String.
So now are you able to connect with what I'm trying to say? There is a lot of data. You can have different types of data, numerical data, categorical data, label data, and using Python data types like these 4 data types, primitive data types, you can basically handle data. Okay. So
सर if you don't mind, ये जो आपने समझाया अभी concatenate वाला, ये फिर से एक बार आप समझा पाओगे क्या, if you don't mind?
So okay, now what are these triple quotes? These triple quotes are also known as doc, string, or multiple line comment. Multiple line comment matlab I can write this in my Python code and Python will simply ignore this. Simply ignore this. Okay. Concatenation. Concat means if I have something as Shubham and I have something as Londe, the output should be Shubham Londe. Okay, this is known as concatenation. If I have a string 1, I have string 2, the output should not be 3. The output should be
12.
One space.
Okay, 1 then 2. This is concatenation. Now I have something known as actor. Let's call it AP. Okay. Is drugs true? Okay. Is drug means this is basically your this person. I can't say if drugs true or not. Maybe let's say false. Okay. Maybe let's be humble. Let's be kind to people. Now I want to see something like NCB verdict is equal to actor plus is drugs. ये NCB का verdict आने वाला है, that actor plus drugs, and I want to print NCB का verdict. Okay, I want to print NCB का verdict. If I run this, I get an error saying that can only concatenate string to string, not Boolean, which means this true and false, it's a Boolean thing. Okay, it's a Boolean thing. I want to convert this into a string in case I want to add these two string. अगर मुझे ऐसा concatenate करना है, इन दोनों को ऐसे जोड़ना है, then this and this both should be string. So to convert this into string, I'll typecast it. I'll just write str and typecast. Okay. I have converted this false into string का false. मतलब ऐसा कुछ तो हो जाएगा. ऐसा string का false. If I run this, I don't get any error and हमारी actress is now safe. NCB has said that false, no drugs found. This way you can basically, if you want to concatenate two variables, two strings, you need to convert both of those variables to a string and then attach or concatenate them. अभी थोड़ा थोड़ा clear हुआ?
जी सर.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
थोड़ा अच्छा लिख देते हैं, रिकॉर्डिंग में अच्छा नहीं लगेगा ये सब. Yeah.
Sir, what is the difference between a character and string?
Good question. Character is a single character. Python में everything is a string only. String is basically a group of characters. So
Combination of characters.
Combination of characters. But Python में everything is a string only. So even if I write S is equal to S and print the type of S. So it will not say character. It will say string only. A string with only one character. SHU, PHAM, a string with 7 characters. Still a string. Are you all getting the idea of variables in Python?
Yes, sir.
Sir, yes, sir.
Sir, can I use a number in a string or a character?
Yeah, you can. फिर वो ऐड नहीं होंगे. मतलब for example you have number 1 is equal to no, number 2 is equal to 2, number 3 is equal to number 1 plus number 2 and print number 3. What do you think? ये 9 2 11 हो जाएगा या नहीं होगा?
नहीं होगा
90
नहीं होगा
Sir,
सर,
होगा।
90 में
92 प्रिंट होगा
No, sir. I think is it a string?
Yeah, it is a string.
Because
That's why
we
you can't do it.
we
It is
use a
concatenation.
code.
correct. It is doing concatenation. What will happen if I do this? अभी होगा या नहीं होगा?
Is converting
Yes, sir.
integer. Yes,
अब हो
sir.
जाएगा शायद, अब शायद हो जाएगा.
Is doing so.
7.
अभी 9 तो 11 हो गया. बट अब भी अगर यहाँ पे शुभम होता तो होता क्या?
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
नहीं
Not-
नहीं, इंटीजर
Yes, sir.
नहीं है.
इंटीजर नहीं है ना वो, मतलब इसको 1 2 इसको होल नंबर चाहिए होता है. ऐसे 1 या फिर 3 या फिर 0 या फिर -9 8 ऐसा कुछ करोगे तो हो जाएगा. अगर ऐसा कुछ तो करोगे या फिर कुछ भी ऐसा डाल दोगे तो वो कहेगा कि भैया अच्छा खासा इंटीजर दो हमें. इनवैलिड लिटरल फॉर इंटीजर. ये ऐसा कैसे इंटीजर दिया आपने मुझको? तो ऐसा सिस्टम रहता है पाइथन को. सो समझो पाइथन को, थोड़ा टाइम स्पेंड करो उसके साथ, जानो एक दूसरों को, कंपैटिबिलिटी बढ़ाओ. ठीक है, फिर ही समझ में आएगी चीजें. थिंग्स विल वर्क आउट वेल बिटवीन यू टू. Yes, any doubts? How many of you
No, sir.
understood what are variables in Python? Although there are many variables, but at least the primitive variables, primitive data types.
Yes, sir.
4.
बढ़िया.
Understood. What if we normally add 2 strings? Do we have to do anything special, or it will work simply like it does?
Yeah, for example, one string is S, other string is P. It will become SP.
Okay, so suppose I want to write first string is my name is and other string is Kamil Ahmed. So
Yeah,
and about the space issue, we can simply give a space between the
you can
double
give
quotes, right?
this. Yeah, you can give a space.
Okay.
Now that you have understood what are variables and things, and you can print out the variables as well. 2 minute देना. Okay. So now that you have understood variables and these things, you can also take input from the user. Okay, let's take an input from the user saying name. You have to input from the user. Now, what I believe in Python is it's a code by me. Okay. अभी मेरी राइटिंग अगर समझ में आ जाए Can anyone repeat the code after me?
हिंदी से भी आसान है पाइथन।
Yes.
Yeah, correct.
हिंदी से भी आसान
हिंदी से भी आसान है पाइथन।
Superb. ये याद कर लो. Now, I want to write a program to input a name and the prompt should show enter your name. Again, I'll think out loud. जो भी मेरे दिमाग में चल रहा है मैं पाइथन को एकदम खुले मन से बताऊंगा. I want to input something with a prompt saying enter a name, and I want to store it in a variable called name, and whatever I enter I want to print it saying that my name is whatever I have taken as an input. Again, I want to take an input from the user saying enter a name, and whatever I enter will go to this variable name, and I want to print that whatever I have input as my name is this. Done. Now you and your Python has a mutual understanding कि मैं जो भी बोल रहा हूँ Python is now understanding it. If you write it, enter a name Shubham. My name is Shubham. So see how good friends you have become now. हिंदी से भी आसान है. This is how you take an input in Python. You just write input, give a bracket, give whatever you want to show, whatever prompt you want to give, that enter a name, enter your name, enter your friend's name, anything, and it will happen. Let's say I'll run it. Enter a name, testing. My name is testing. Okay. So you gave an input, you got an output. Enter a name, Modi ji. So my name is Modi ji. So whatever you want, you can take in as input and give as output. Okay. So it's that simple. Yeah. ये सही है या नहीं है?
Yes sir.
अभी
हाँ सर, ये बिल्कुल सत्य है.
सत्य है. So अभी do one thing. Enter two numbers and find the sum of those two numbers. अभी मजा आएगी. अब कल तक जो आदमी पाइथन नहीं सीख पा रहा था या फिर नहीं लिख पा रहा था, अच्छा सॉरी भैया अनम्यूट, अरे नहीं आ रहा भाई, कैन यू अनम्यूट मी? अरे पोकला धनुष, मैंने आपको शायद म्यूट कर दिया था, बट आई थिंक यू कैन अनम्यूट योरसेल्फ, बट पता नहीं आ रहा क्या? I'll make you the presenter. Now maybe you can unmute yourself. Action failed. Anyways, if you want you can type. So कहा था मैं? हाँ. So what you have to do? Input two numbers as A and B. Find the sum or add those numbers. How many of you think that they can do it? सिर्फ सोचना है. पता है हिंदी से भी आसान है पाइथन. You have to think and then you have to repeat yourself, and whatever you are repeating you have to type it. You have to tell Python कि भाई input a number A, input another number B, C is equal to A plus B. But you have to make sure कि वो दोनों integer हो. String हुए तो वो concatenate हो जाएंगे add होने के.